Hey guys, welcome back. Here we've got another Hamilton Beach, an older one. This is a Model E, the predecessor to the Model G. You can tell it's got a totally different design on the motor, but if you lift the motor off the base, you basically have a Model G base. So it's got the secondary brushes here, just like the earlier version of the Model Gs did. So it's very similar to a Model G. It's got a different, a little bit different styling to it. It's got a really cool handle. This is a very Art Deco looking mixer, and I really like the style of this one. And this one came with the beaters too. And this is getting a complete restoration back to white with the black turntable. But I don't know if this thing runs or not yet, so we're going to go ahead and plug it in and see what's up with this thing. Alright, well, it does run. That's a good sign. See, it's got a pretty old cord on it. I don't think it's the original cord to this, but it's pretty old and it's cracked and everything. So we're going to do away with that. But let's go ahead and start tearing this thing down. This is going to be a pretty easy one, I think, being that it doesn't really need anything mechanical that we can hear from firing it up anyways. Brushes are about half worn down, so they'll get new brushes. So that was the same. Let's take out these secondary brushes here. And these are just like plugs that go in, and then you still got to get to your brush cap that's up in here, and I'm having a hard time seeing it from this angle, so I got to kind of feel for it. Alright, there's the secondary brushes. That one looks good. I'm sure this one will too. This one looks like it's got a lot of old food caked up around it, probably acting like a glue. So we'll just scrape some of that off. There we go. Now the Model Gs there, the 1948 and I believe 49 models had these secondary brush caps on the outside, and then after that they moved them underneath the cord connection cover. Alright, come on out of there. There we go. Ooh, that one looks a bit low. But I do have other ones we can replace it. It's strange, one is worn more than the other. But the metal bits on here actually look pretty good. This one looks like it just needs to be polished up. It's not pitted or rusted. So that's always good. And you notice on here this is painted black, and I believe this is brass as well underneath here. It looks like it'll go back to black because this one didn't have any brass showing on it like that Model C that we did. Alright, let's get this off. And you can see also this has, basically the same setup here as the Model C and the Model D. You got your gearbox cover here, then this plate comes off, and you got your speed control underneath there, where this plate right here didn't show on the Model G. You had this mounted right to here, and then the plate was underneath, kind of recessed. And so let's go ahead and pop this off and take a look at our grease. This shaft has got some tight spots in it. to turn. This one turns good. And the grease, of course, looks kind of crappy. Let's get our screws out of there. Alright, I'm just going to set this down here. We'll pull our gears out of that later. I want to get the handle off of here. I think that's what I like the best about this model here is the handle. Alright, look at that. There's just something really cool about that. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull this front piece off here. And I don't think I ever picked up my wrench that I dropped before. So we'll use a socket on this one. Yeah, it's amazing that things that back in the day had so much style. I mean, just look at everything on here. It's just got incredible style to it. Where you look at things today, and there's not much that really you can say, you know, anything positive about the styling on it. And of course, everything is plastic. Alright, let's go ahead and pop this off here. And we can take a look at our switch plate here, which you see there's some carbon buildup on there. That'll need to be cleaned up good. But it doesn't look much different than the Model G one. So, and then this has a bushing in it, which is just like the Model G bushings as well. It's got the felt wicks on it, and then the spring that holds it in there. So I'll have to get that disassembled. Alright, let me make sure you guys can still see here. Oops, forgot. I had to take off a couple nuts here. Alright, now I just gotta hope I have enough slack on the wiring. I can pull this out clear. You know, I doubt it. Nope, maybe. There we go. Alright, and you'll notice this right here will seem really familiar. Oh, I can't get this out of the way enough. Maybe I can. Sorry, just pull the whole armature out. There we go. You'll notice this is really familiar. This looks just like your Model G armature. It's got the same setup for the thing. Wow, look at the carbon on those. Same flyweight setup and everything. Alright, so now I'm going to disconnect the electrical connection here. This doesn't look like an original screw, so I'm guessing that this plug was replaced before, and somehow they lost the screw. cord connection. Let's pop these nuts off of here. There's two capacitors in here. This one goes to the motor, which we'll pull out in a minute. And then this one right here is just an RF filter. But the nice thing about it is they use the brass ground screw here to tie it to the chassis, and that's where we can hook up our ground wire for our new cord. Alright, now we can get that out of here. That gets pitched. And get our cord out. And check out the nifty little thing on there. I don't know that is maybe an original to this. We'll have to save that. Oh yeah, that fits in there perfect, so we'll save this sucker and definitely reuse that. You know, it's crimped on there. Alright, now, I don't know if you can see down inside here. I don't know how well the light is. There's two screws right here that connect to this red fiber plate there. I gotta loosen those up, and we'll be able to pull our resistor and capacitor both out at the same time because they're tied together. Can get my screwdriver out here. Alright, once you get those loosened up, this whole thing will slide out. You got a metal piece here that slides into slots in the housing. And then you've got your capacitor there. And the way it ran, I'm assuming these are good. So I'm going to set those aside so nothing happens to them. And now we've got two more nuts in here that hold these rods on, but these rods were somewhat loose, so let's see if we can just unscrew these rods. They loosened up when we were trying to take out the other nuts there. Alright, there's one. Now the other one must have taken itself back down. So we'll jam our two nuts together again. Let's see if we can't break it loose. There we go. And I'll keep our two nuts from getting lost as well. Alright, there should be a couple spacers in here. There we go. Now, there's two clips I gotta pop off. The leads that go on the brush holders. Usually they pop off pretty easy. There we go. Now our whole assembly should slide right out. There we go. Okay, the cord wires here just holding it up, or the leads for the fuel coil. There we go. There we go. There's the fuel coil. All the parts that are attached to it, which everything looks good, so we'll just have to clean that up. Alright, now I'm going to pull this nut off the back here. And the screw that goes in here. There we go. Alright, the only thing left on here is these brush holders and the plate on the front. There we go. Brush holders are out. Now we'll take our little plate off, which looks in really good shape on here. This thing will clean up nicely. And it's amazing, this is also a 120 watt mixer, except I think with the way the speed control is on this one, it's 120 watts throughout the range of speeds, where like the Model C, that was also 120 watts, but only on full speed. So it's amazing, these didn't really go up in wattage that much, but if you think about the Model C, when the Model C came out, that was 120 watts on high speed, but your Sunbeam Mixmaster, I believe that was only 60 watts at the time. So now we're getting, this stayed 120, and I think Mixmaster's caught up to it. Alright, so this is ready for cleaning and sandblasting and powder coating. Very cool design. Bottom of the turntable still looks good. The top is got a little bit of surface rust on it, but not too bad. Alright, this has a pin that we got to drive out. And I'll do so right now. But there is a direction that it has to go, because one side's bigger than the other. I do believe I was going the right direction, unless my eyes are playing tricks on me. Alright, this pin only fits in one direction. There's a bigger hole on one side than the other, and the smaller side is the knurled side on these pins. So I have to just be careful which way I do that. Now this here is tricky to get off. Basically what I do is I just heat this up to expand it to help, give it some help, and I basically have to very carefully drive it off of there. Putting them on is a piece of cake, they just tap right on, but taking them off is usually a bit of a chore. I mean, it would be easy to just wail on it, but you damage this edge on here real good. So yeah, you got to heat it up and just gently work it off, and it becomes a pain in the butt. Alright, there's our height adjuster. Set your beater height to the bowls. And these are always a little bit corroded. Not rusted, but they get a white corrosion on it. Alright, feet. Huh. There's three feet left on here, and they are not even worth it calling feet. I'll of course put all new feet on here. And we just got our lever here for the bowl. Just ain't enough. The screws down here are black. I wonder if they were replaced at some point. Alright, you notice the end of this thing is painted black. So we'll end up getting that old paint off of there and put a new coat on there. Alright, base is all stripped down. I'll soon get this off. There we go. That's just for tension on your lever so it don't slap around. Alright, base is all stripped. Now we got a bunch of parts stripped and ready to go. I think I want to get these gears out of here. Oh man, look at this grease. It's totally solidified. Huh. Alright, well, I'll be scraping at it for a bit here. Trying to find my set screw. Wow, this is some bad grease here. Alright, found the set screw. Hope I can get it to come loose here. There we go. Well, that was easy enough. I'm going to go ahead and just pull it all the way out. Let's see if this shaft will come out. There we go. Alright, shaft don't look bad. The gear is, of course, covered with that crusty goo, so it's going to have to soak for a while. Let's see if we can uncover the screw on this next one here. What kind of solidified hell is this? This stuff is hard. I'm surprised these turned at all. I think if any of this had gotten down in between the shaft and the housing, I don't think these would be turning at all. Because that stuff is rock hard. But the set screws are coming right out, so that's a bonus right there, because I was kind of worried about those. Alright, the shaft came right out. Our gear will have to soak that in the degreaser, because that stuff is just solid on there. Look at this in here. That's amazing. I don't think I have yet to see grease this hard in anything yet. There's no liquid at all left in there. I'm impressed that this thing still worked. Imagine grease like this in anything else. Yeah, that's all solid hard chunks of grease there. So this right here, same thing. It's brass, but I'll have to heat it up to expand it a bit, and then it'll just pop right off. And then this right here will be ready for some soaking in the degreaser and then powder coat and all that. Alright, what do I got left? Oh yeah, this isn't ready because I do got this spring down in here that's going to have to come out with the bushing and all that. Sometimes these take a little bit of work to get to. I get something sharp down there. Sometimes if you get something sharp in there between it and the housing, you can pop it out and get it to work itself out from the groove that locks it in there. There you go. You see these going, they got a wider spot on the top, narrower on the bottom. Alright, so now the battle's halfway over because there's a wick in there that's got to come out also. And that wick has been forced down on top of this bushing by that spring for many, many years. And it's probably bone dry. I mean, judging by the grease, I'm going to imagine everything in here is bone dry. You just got to try to get it to slide up from around the bushing. Wish I could show you guys what I'm doing in here, but that would be impossible. But I'm going around getting it between getting the point of this between the wick and the hole in the housing there, and kind of pulling it up, going a little bit at a time, pulling it up around the bushing. And I'll show you here. See, there's that bone dry felt wick. The bushing sits in there like that. This sits on here, and a spring goes on top of it. And this thing is bone dry. But you got your housing around here. Just try to get the point of something sharp in there, and just kind of like slowly work it up around until you get one end lifted out, and then it'll come out. And then there's just one other little piece of wick in here. I think there is. There should be. Yeah. That's also, if I were to squeeze that, it'd probably break in half. It's so dry. So those have to get soaked in oil. Put back in. Now this is all ready to go. Everything else is pretty much ready to go. Like I said, I got to this part here. I got to heat this up. I got to get this off of here, and then just heat this up and pop this off of there. Everything cleaned up, sandblasted, powder coated, all these internal parts, and get all cleaned up, and then we can put it back together. That's the fun part. So we'll come back when when everything's all cleaned up, ready to put back together. Okay, I don't know why I didn't think about it, but I still have to pop everything out of here. So I just got the spring out of there. I'll show you guys how I get this wick out of here. See if you get something sharp back in behind it, you can tend to roll it up over the top of this bushing. And just work it on out. There you go, another rock hard oil wick. There's your bushing and the other oil wick. Which is also rock hard. But that comes out pretty easily. Alright, just thought I'd add that. got this one all wrapped up and ready to go. This is that Model E that we did, and as you can tell, we just went back to the white, with the black accents that were on it. Looks really good. It's looks like a new machine. Got our bowl, everything in, bearing lubricated for a turntable. Let's go ahead and turn this on and give this thing a listen to. So, as you can tell, it runs nice and smooth through all the gears. We have to just put in these little caps that cover up the secondary brushes here. And voila! Now she's complete. We did replace the brushes with new brushes. This thing runs like new. I mean, this is a really good running machine right here, and it's got that really cool style. I love the handle on these. Out of all the Hamilton Beach mixers, I think the Model E is probably my favorite, just because of the styling on it. I mean, it's got such a really cool look to it, no matter which way you look at it. Even from the front, I mean, it's just a neat looking machine. But anyways, this one's a wrap. If you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and we know that you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so you can be notified of other videos that we post. We got a KitchenAid coming up. We got some hand mixers to do. We've got we got a few other different things coming up. Some door Meyers. So, there's a variety coming up. We got some KitchenAid coffee grinders to do. We've got a little mixer to do as well, a little like a whipper, the electric whipper. So we got some variety coming up, so you guys might want to check that out. But as always, guys, appreciate you watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks.